own podcast, the Skip Bayless Show, and he has promised, now that he is no longer attached to a big name brand, a mainstream media company, he's promised his audience he's going to be the most unfiltered version of himself as he can be. And he actually is already proving that to be the case. And this is where the statements that Skip Bayless has made, I was never expecting him to say. Now, one thing about Skip Bayless that he has been very transparent about since, the beginnings of his broadcast career is that he was raised by a black woman. And he believes that being raised by a black woman really gave him a unique and greater appreciation for Black America and really had a strong influence on his media career, even so much so that he said he felt even more comfortable around Black co-hosts, for example, or Black analysts, because he just felt like the vibe was there, right? Like kind of that same vibe as to what he was feeling when he grew up being raised by a black woman, he would feel on set with other black members of the media. That's not the issue. The issue here is that Skip Bayless actually is now coming out saying he has felt guilty for some time now about praising Caitlin Clark because she's white. Now, it's not that he's been excessively critical of Caitlin Clark, but he's saying that because she's white and in some, circumstances, I don't really believe this to be a case, kind of looked as a symbol of right-wingism. He just felt that he needed to temper his praise about Caitlin Clark, despite her being phenomenal and certainly the greatest thing in the WNBA at this time, at least as far as getting the WNBA to the point that it has ratings-wise, revenue-wise. But let me just play for you what Skip Bayless said, word for word. Listen.
But for the first half of this basketball season, this WNBA season, I tried to flaunt my white-on-white objectivity. I said Angel Reese is the rookie of the year halfway through the season. I mean, after all, she was setting rebounding records as a rookie while Caitlin was on her way to shattering the all-time single-season turnover record. I think she shattered it with 15 games to go. She's, as we speak, 70-odd turnovers ahead of the next woman in the WNBA in turnovers. Shockingly bad. Too many logo attempts were starting to hurt her three-point shooting percentage. This is mid-season. And too often she just quit shooting in fourth quarters as she deferred to her elders. At one point she said, "I lose sight of the basket." And I'm thinking, Caitlin, you're the greatest scorer in the history of women's or men's college basketball, and you lose sight of the basket? But the other day, I must admit, it hit me like Katie Bell Henderson telling me that's enough. I told myself it's not racist for me to like Caitlin Clark's game and to say so publicly.
Skip. It's always something, and it's so Skip is identifying himself as black because he just said it's not racist to like a white person's game. Skip looks white to me. So just because he grew up around black people, he's stating that it would be racist to like Caitlin Clark's game because she's white. I mean, this is honestly getting out of hand. I'm sorry. I'm pretty young. I'm gonna be honest, but I have never been the one to ever be involved in any type of racism, any type of black versus white, Hispanic versus this, Asian versus that. I literally feel like I can call a race of anybody. Like I have friends of any race. Like I don't understand why certain people are still stuck in this way of it having to be a white versus black, this versus that. To me, this is ridiculous. I mean, Skip to put this out, like, are you kidding me, Skip? Are you kidding me? Like this is mind blowing. I don't even really know what to say. This is a bad look. And Skip wonders why he's not part of Undisputed anymore. And like I don't know. I'm a little lost at this take. I didn't hear this one. I'm surprised I didn't see it on Twitter or anything like that. But this is ridiculous, Skip. I'm just gonna be honest. You know, for you to make that comment, and maybe I'm taking it wrong, but Skip, you're not black, brother. And although you've been around black people, you support black people, that's great. You could love Caitlin Clark's basketball game. There's nothing wrong with that. She could be Asian. Doesn't matter what race she is. I love I love a lot of black girls basketball games. I love a lot of white girls basketball games. I like a lot of Asian people. I love the way they play basketball. Hispanics, it does not matter. So I'm just a little different. Maybe where I grew up and how I grew up, and yeah, there was parts and there was things. I'm not gonna say I've never been accused or I've never been told a certain word before. Shit, if you ever play Call of Duty or anything like that, it's the most racist thing that comes. The chats are crazy. So I just you there's certain things that bother you and there's certain things that don't. I'm just gonna be honest. I feel like I kind of have an attitude that it's like if you're not directing something towards me directly, like me, I'm not really getting into all that because that's not my lane. I like to stay in my own lane. You know what I'm saying? So the talks about racism and things like that, that's just not for me. I'm just gonna be honest. So I'm gonna finish this out and hear what Skip has to say. But it's a little uncomfortable to hear Skip even talking like that.
Okay, so I'm going to go on and continue on with the statements that he made because I feel like those are him admitting that, you know, he wasn't maybe giving her the praise that she deserved for breaking certain records while maybe giving Angel Reese too much praise, or, you know, however you want to look at it. But Skip Bayless went on to say, you know, here comes this white girl from Iowa, and I started watching the WNBA much more closely than I ever have. Which, by the way, that's same for everybody. The Caitlin Clark effect has been absolutely real as it, again, relates to the ratings and the exposure the WNBA has gotten in this season alone, far greater than what they've gotten in the past 10 years combined, likely. Anyways, Bayless continued on saying, and I started to think down deep in my psyche, wait a second, she's really good. But I'll be the first to admit I felt guilty saying so on TV or on social media. I did not want to look like this red state white guy cheering for this red state white girl. Our country feels split enough racially already. I didn't want to pour gasoline on that fire. Maybe I was wrong about this, but Caitlin Clark started to feel like some sort of new right-wing symbol.
So Skip is okay with being fake on the internet. He is okay with letting certain communities control what he really and truly wants to say on the internet. Wow, Skip Bayless. Wow. Thank you for letting us know that you were worried about other people's opinions. So you have to tell a lie on Caitlin Clark's name because you feel that it's going to be a racist attack. Wow. Wow.
White woman dominating game dominated by black men and women for years and years. I could almost hear some people thinking, white power, baby. And please, I'm not saying Caitlin Clark is far right in her politics or beliefs. I have no idea what her politics or religion are because she has carefully, and I say smartly, avoided taking any rookie year stance because she is already such a lightning rod. But obviously, I know what a powerful point of pride basketball has been to the black community in this country. Black men and women obviously have been routinely and consistently better at basketball. And I think those statements are just mind-blowing because Skip Bayless, although raised by a black woman, I have to imagine when it comes to recognizing greatness in different sports, he's been analyzing sports for such a long time that there are very few people who could do it at the level that he does. And for him to now say that he wanted to really avoid talking about Caitlin Clark or praising her too much because of the conversation surrounding her, he was feeling like she was some sort of new right-wing symbol. I mean, that's horrible. this has nothing to do with race. I feel horrible for Caitlin Clark. I mean, even for her to probably now today hear these statements made by Skip Bayless and be like, oh my gosh, all I did was be great at the sport that I played in college. And then all I did was go on to be drafted #1 in the WNBA. Now I'm perceived by some of the great, one of the greatest analysts as possibly a right-wing symbol and someone who doesn't want to praise me as a result of maybe having that association. That's really sad. I think Caitlin Clark is the biggest victim when it comes to all of this because she's certainly not a right-wing symbol. She's a white woman, which, again, who cares? Sports is one of the only meritocracies, or in some cases, I suppose. In some cases, I don't even think sports is necessarily a meritocracy anymore because, the direction our world is going in. But certainly not a right-wing symbol. She is a white woman who happens to be phenomenal at basketball. And unfortunately, that's what some people see when they watch Caitlin Clark, is they see a white woman instead of just seeing a woman who's really great at basketball. And yes, I understand that, to Skip Bayless's point, basketball has been a point of pride for the Black community. And yes, historically speaking, most of the great players that we discuss, whether on the women's or the men's side, are Black.
I'm sorry, I have to chime in there because I feel like there's been plenty of white people as well who have played on these Black dominant basketball teams. And we haven't gotten to this point this deep like the WNBA. Not to my knowledge. I mean, this is bad. This is explosion. This is terrible. And someone, it's coming from Skip Bayless, guys. Think about that. This is sad, bro. Like I said, he's literally stating he has to be fake because Caitlin Clark is white. Unbelievable.
But that doesn't mean that it only belongs to one race, or that if another race enters the picture and takes a lot of that attention, that we should have a conversation about it. This is not a debate about race. This is just a conversation about great players. And that's what it should be. But clearly, to Skip Bayless's point, and even to the effect that he didn't want to talk about it, it's very clear that he can't be the only one, right? He's probably not the only person in sports media who has this same mindset and way of thinking. I'm sure that there are other analysts probably also over at his former place of employment, ESPN, who knows? Like, there's got to be other places where they're also thinking to themselves, how are our audiences going to interpret high constant praise of Caitlin Clark, knowing that she is a white woman and knowing that this conversation has been one that has pretty much overshadowed even some of Caitlin Clark's greatest accomplishments since the beginning of the season. And I also understand that, yes, maybe the WNBA now has a lot more white fans because of Caitlin Clark. But, that's where we talk about representation. And I feel like minorities are allowed to talk about that all they want and say, it's important to have.
I got to stop it there. I'm going to be honest. I don't care what race the fans are. I'm a Caitlin Clark fan. I'm not white. Do I look white? I love everyone. Let's stop this bullshit. This is ridiculous. Caitlin Clark has Black fans, Asian fans, white fans, Hispanic fans, Indian fans. I've seen all of them. I'm on Instagram. I'm on social media all day. I see comments. I see profiles. I see everything. Caitlin Clark has fans of every race. We need to stop this. And to her point, Skip Bayless can't be the only analyst out there who feels this way or who has treated this situation in such a fake way because they're so worried about what the narrative will be spun on them or how they will be looked at because they're supporting a white woman. This is ridiculous. And it has to stop. And as she said, the victim out of all this is Caitlin Clark, because I haven't heard Caitlin Clark say anything racist to any of you guys. Caitlin Clark, I see her taking pictures with Black people, white people. It does not matter. Jersey sales are up, right? Hot dog sales, beer sales are up, right? Ticket prices are up, right? Ticket sales have increased, right? Season tickets have increased, correct? Viewership has increased. Doesn't matter what color or race. Just enjoy what is happening in front of our eyes enjoy the growth of the league. Whoever's buying the basketballs, Wilson basketballs, whoever's buying jerseys, whoever's buying those hot dogs, beer sales, tickets, whatever the case is, it doesn't matter what race. It's the point. The point is they're a fan, and the fans are what's going to help grow this game, not analysts who are being fake because they don't want to be looked at in a certain light because they're supporting a white or black woman. Doesn't matter if you support a white woman or a black woman in the WNBA. Support is support. And I think in order to grow this game, everybody's going to have to support to a high level. And you got to leave the racist stuff behind. The sad part about it is I don't think they will. So, look, man, that's all I got for this show. I appreciate you guys, man. If you have not, make sure you guys sub to the channel. Please let me know what you guys think about this segment right here. We had a long weekend full of college football. We still have Sunday football, and we have a huge slate for WNBA today. I will be live probably on CEO Kana. If not, I will catch you guys on the next video. I appreciate you guys. I'm out.